So we've known the Westworld finale is coming. I can't believe we get to talk about Drake and Westworld in the same episode. Two of my biggest, probably like left turns in terms of critical reception, or I guess popular perception, because Drake, very popular artist that I'm not a super fan of, like most people. In Westworld, very well documented if you know anything about our reviews, that we are not big fans of Westworld. But Westworld season 3, we were maybe a little bit optimistic, bringing Aaron Paul into the mix, Kid Cudi. I mean, anytime you can get Marshawn Lynch in the fold, potential for some greatness
This
there.
all sounds good. Tell me more.
And you
Vincent
know what?
Cassell, of course.
Season 2 ended with a bang, which it often does for Westworld. And we were like, you know what? They're moving outside the park. Maybe there'll be some interesting developments here that might bring us back in. Are you feeling any different about Westworld after season 3 than you did when season 2 ended?
Hell no. This shit is so convoluted and fake deep and completely absent of stakes. I guess that makes me the outlier for pointing that out. I don't know. I don't get how people find this satisfying at all. It's infuriating.
Dave,
No,
are you Dolores?
Oh,
because I have no idea who the hell Dolores is.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yes, I am. And I would applaud Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy if they had the balls to keep Dolores Prime, whatever, dead, But obviously Evan Rachel Wood is one of the faces of this show. We know that ain't happening. She'll be back in season 4. That's the problem with this show. Anything can be undone. And there's 2 big red herrings in this season, right? There's the one where there's the anti-riot big robot guy that's like 15 feet tall, right? You know he's going to come back. They introduce him in the second episode. He comes back to save Tessa. And I'm like, oh yeah, saw that coming. Cool. Looks nice. Great effects. Cool. Pretty flat though. And then of course when Tessa's like, I'm downloading the IP. It's so valuable. We got to save these hosts. And then they burn all the hosts in the basement. But, look at the stinger scene. They're making the hosts again. Who didn't see that coming? The 2 red, especially that one. I was so annoyed. I was like, yes, of course you're bringing all the hosts back. No fucking shit. Oh yeah, Hector, this tough scene where Maeve is like, oh, Hector, my love, he's dead. Just kidding. He'll come back later. It don't matter. It's fine. And that's the problem. You can't care about anything because nothing matters.
Yeah. I actually found myself saying out loud when Maeve and Dolores were fighting, near the end. I was like, you neither one of you can really die. You don't actually die in the show. So why are you spending your time doing this? I guess because one of you needs to succumb, but in the end, just because they succumb doesn't mean that anything necessarily changes. Now, it's the part I was probably most sad about this season, because I did feel like there were some things that were pretty well done. It's a well shot show. I think some of the action scenes are pretty riveting and fun to watch. And if you just want to watch this show for the action, and a couple of these episodes were just pure action from start to finish, then yeah, you can enjoy the show for that. But to think it's a bigger concept show that actually hits, I don't. We learn about her human backstory is a lot more fascinating than Tessa Thompson's character as a fucking host. I want to rewind and have them build out that character in the first 2 seasons and understand why she is the way she is, what things led to that, and her relationship with Ed Harris before she's a goddamn robot. Because at this point, then it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. And so now we're left with what? Robot host Charlotte, who is or is not really Dolores. And then we have host Ed Harris, host Man in Black, who we kind of knew existed at the end of season 2. But so now what? Now James Delos, now Man in Black is dead. So now we're just left with a one-off, truly villainous Men in Black. I guess that's the implication of what he'll be moving forward. Whatever, I guess. Apparently Ed Harris was much more fan of playing that character than playing the businessman real life Delos. So good for Ed, I guess. Get your checks. But yeah, dude, I really like Charlotte's presence, Tessa Thompson just kind of shows up in season 2, like what she opens the door naked, right? She's just being a boss
Hmm.
and like just being this badass like executive at Delos. And then she dies, right? And it's like I like Tess Thompson as an actor, but nothing about her arc, the arc this season worked with like the family and Michael Ealy as the baby dad, and like none of that worked. Um,
No.
and then even Delos kind of spins his wheel where Serac is making like gaslighting everyone to making everyone think uh, Delos is insane, then he's not, and he's trying to take back his company by being a good guy. And then he dies. Then like that didn't matter either, right? And like if you think about it, Bernard also, another big president, Jeffrey Wright. Bernard doesn't do a whole lot in this season either, right? Where it's kind of keeping people on the board and spinning the wheels, keeping the treadmill going. And like I kind of laughed when it starts off in the season and we find out Luke Hemsworth's character Stubbs is a host, and that's the thing with Westworld. You can kind of just change your mind on things. There was no implication through 2 seasons that Stubbs was a host at all, and we have no way of knowing if Joe Nolan and Lisa Joy ever thought that once, but they can change their mind. That's just the way the show works, and that was cool. I guess I actually kind of liked their dynamic and seeing them do stuff. Not that anything they did really was interesting or mattered, but I enjoyed seeing them, I guess.
I was thinking about this show in relation to Succession, right? Because I see these as like the two main like staples of HBO at this point. In terms of gone, Veep is gone, so you don't even have those like comedy staples. These are the two horses that HBO is riding on. Succession is so aware of what it is, what it does well, and it totally builds on that every single episode. And yeah, it's gonna be some petty shit, and it's gonna be some family drama, and it's gonna be some rich person undercutting petty quarrels. But we're here for that, and you're gonna get some twists along the way, but it's very much what it is. Westworld tries to be so much in all at the same time. It tries to be this
Mm-hmm.
commentary on humanity. It tries to be this commentary on fate and determinism versus free choice and free will. And I just feel like all of it is like half baked in a lot of ways. Like the Caleb character, which is supposed to be this, played by Aaron Paul, supposed to be this like you are really human because you've made choices, and that's what makes you human, and that kind of being what it comes down to, and like choosing beauty over choosing ugliness, and having to do ugly things to achieve beauty. It just all kind of left me with this huge eye roll. Like I felt like I had to pick my eyes up off the floor like 5 times in the final episode, and like in the final 2 episodes as they were explaining this. And I also feel like they go from not telling you anything and you're kind of like, what the hell is happening, for like 6 of the 8 episodes, and then the last 2 episodes are just these total like exposition dumps trying to explain all the concepts and tie it together, and it just felt so messy and like overdone to me. It was just a lot, man. I really don't know how you fix the show moving forward, and maybe it doesn't need to be fixed. Maybe they're just gonna like have people like us tuning in to hate watch it, or just to report back, because it seems like a lot of people do enjoy the show and a lot of people do find it interesting and intriguing. And even before we started recording today, you said it was kind of an easy watch only because you can kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy parts of it and not have to worry about trying to think any deeper on it if you don't want
Right.
to.
I will say I enjoyed Vincent Cassell as Serac as the villain this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cassell in general is just kind of a welcome presence whenever he's on screen, but I feel like his effectiveness as the villain started to wane a little bit because he's presented as this omnipresent, infallible, secret mastermind of civilization, yet Dolores and who was with her? Dolores gets to infiltrate that site with her magic sniper rifle, right? Like it seemed like he got outsmarted kind of easily. But yeah, I mean, overall, just in terms of making the show better, the show would have to have a different interest in its storytelling. It has a way of keeping things from the audience for the sake of keeping them, not because they're interesting, not because they're even that deep or that complicated, but just because that's the way it wants to present its arcs. And I just don't find it effective at all. And I have quibbles about stuff. Like I wish Dolores was a bit more emotive of a character. I guess in a sense, this was my favorite Dolores season, and I really like Evan Rachel Wood. I think it was cool seeing her kind of like infiltrate the 1% society in the normal Westworld world. That was cool. But yeah, narratively, man, it's just hard to get behind. Uh, but it
Yeah.
like like the obvious influences of like Metropolis and Blade Runner in the world. Yeah, that looks cool. That looks really cool. That's the problem though. Like, there's nothing under the surface with this, and it talks about all its themes as if it warrants something being under the surface. If it was presented as a simpler thing, I wouldn't be as critical. But it's actually setting out, as you said, to kind of be all these different things at once, and nothing's really landing. So it's tough, but season 4 is coming. Obviously, they can't start production now, so I think that show at least is 2022. So it's going to be a while, but I'm curious to see how much discussion this season really warrants before people move on anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably be talking about it, but man, I don't know. It's definitely not a show I look forward to. I actually ended up like kind of just binging it this past week because it never feels essential to me to watch. And for a show that is such big budget and that HBO has really, like I said, made this one of its signature shows at the moment, just kind of worrisome. Especially when we just talked about a show that they just kind of threw out there, and it feels like such a more fun hang and a show I want to go back and watch more. It being a 27-minute show about skateboarders in New York. Like,
Right.
it doesn't always need to be so complex, but it might just be us, Dave.